Hello, welcome back to a new video on the Brandon Lee page. In this video I've got an exciting collection of magazines that I was able to get hold of, and some of them are pre-death magazines that makes it all the more exciting. So first I have these two, which are the Kung Fu Inside Kung Fu magazines, and this one is pre-death magazine, so this is November 1992, and on the front here it's got Brandon Lee becomes the new little dragon. So this is up to the point where he's promoting and talking about rapid fire, and really interesting articles inside this one. And then in this one it is July 1993, so this is just a short while after his tragic death with the accident on the set of The Crow. And in this article inside this magazine, there's a section here by David Carradine as well, where he played opposite David Carradine in Kung Fu the movie, which was around 1986, which I believe was his very first outing in front of the camera. And it just says David Carradine saying, "Could Brandon Lee's death have been prevented?" And then you have columns down the side of this article down here, and then also on the next page, just by fans of Brandon Lee, fans of this martial arts magazine, commenting on the loss and the tragic shock of his death so suddenly, with all the hope and the excitement with his up and coming fame to stardom. And there's a great shot there of Brandon Lee. That would have been from Kung Fu the movie. And then just on from that one, you have a collection of martial arts illustrated magazines. This one is June 94, so this would have been around the time of the release of The Crow, which was the following year. And a great article in here all about the up and coming new movie The Crow. And then you have an inside special magazine inside here on Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, that starred Jason Scott Lee, which was also a role that Brandon was asked to play his own father, which he turned it down, and it's a good job he did, because it wouldn't have been right for him at all. But that's another great magazine there. And then you have May 92. So this is another pre-death magazine, and this is a like a publicity still, which would be from Showdown Little Tokyo, which he played opposite Dolph Lundgren. So this is up to that point where he's talking about Showdown Little Tokyo, which is his first big American film production, and he's mentioning towards the end of the article in this magazine where he says about filling Bruce's mighty big shoes, but he said he'd rather look at his father's shoes than actually wear them, and being asked to try and portray him and try and make out another Bruce Lee, which he certainly wasn't. And he's trying to stress at that time that he wasn't trying to be his father or trying to be another great martial artist like he was. He was trying to be his own person, his own man, and he would have been a great actor, though he lived. And then again you have another martial arts illustrated magazine, which is June 93. So June 93, that's a little while after the accident, from March 31st 93. This one is about Brandon's life and career up to the point of rapid fire, with a special magazine presentation inside this one, and it just mentions a very small section about his last film, The Crow, which was not released then because it hadn't been finished, so they had to get body doubles and special effects to complete the scenes that sadly he didn't get to do, which would have been released the following year. And then finally you have this one, another Martial Arts Illustrated magazine, which is February '93, which this is a really important magazine, this one, because this is the month just before his passing. So this is also Rapid Fire. He's talking about promoting Rapid Fire and the success with that film, and then he mentions a little bit about Ukura, about a dark revenger that comes back from the dead to revenge his death and his fiancée in dark gothic comic book fantasy. And this is actually really interesting, but you just don't, obviously you didn't know at the time through reading this that actually just a month later that he'd passed, that he died. And so this is a nice bit of history to add to the Brandon Lee vintage magazine collection. And then and also this one, which I almost forgot, this is from another from the Martial Arts Illustrated magazines, celebration of Year of the Dragons, celebration special of the legacy of Bruce and Brandon Lee. Bruce Lee 1940-1973 and Brandon Lee 1965-1993. And then because it's all at that same time, 93, the release of Dragon, you've got Jason Scott Lee that played Bruce Lee. So so there it is, another presentation on the memory and the lives of Bruce and Brandon Lee. So a huge, great magazine collection there, and really, really super bit of history. So thanks for watching this video, and happy Bruce and Brandon Lee collecting.